Life is short. Live life like you are retired. You know, the government, they like spending money like a drunk pirate in Tortuga. Arr. Crazy, isn't it? So, what do? Build a life that you don't need to retire from. How? Create a life that you don't want to retire from. How? Let's talk about it, because this will change forever how you think about retiring. Welcome to Goose Pond Hideout with Rob. So how do you build a life that you don't need to retire from? How do you create a life that you just want to live every day, that you don't, traditional retiring? And, that's the thing. And, again, what I joked about there in the very beginning is our government spends money like a drunk pirate in Tortuga. I mean, they're just printing and spending, and that at least contributes to inflation. I think it kind of is a major cause of inflation, but we can at least say that it contributes to inflation, right? Excuse me. So what do? You need to build a life that you don't want to retire from. So you've got to transition away from a traditional kind of a job. So how do you do that? I'm a burn the bridge kind of guy. When we decided to leave the real world and, move on to our sailboat, we just sold everything. We quit working. We packed it up and we moved. Yeah, it probably took us almost a year. We made a mark on the calendar that we're leaving on this day, no matter what. And we worked like crazy to get there. And, burn the bridges, I'm gone. But, you may not be a jump off the cliff and build your wings on the way down kind of person, and that's fine. So what you want to do is you want to start and you want to transition away from traditional working to doing it on your own. And why is that so important? So, whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, it's important because, we're experiencing the issue right now in that, like, let's say that you're somewhere in your 60s, that you're really getting close to that Social Security retirement age. Well, the thing is, like with inflation, is pretend you get, I'll just make up a number that's easy to work with out of my head here. Suppose your Social Security check's going to be $1,500 a month. And you've got your budget all planned out and you're good to go because you've reduced your expenses, you've simplified your life, and that's what you've been working on. No more car payments, things like that. And you've really, really reduced everything, really simplified everything, and you feel like you're good to go. And that $1,500 a month is, you're going to be set. So the thing is, every year there's a cost of living adjustment, COLA. Cost of living adjustment. And let's say, like for this year, that it's going to be 3%, just, ballpark number. Well, that's $45 a month. So, okay, your $1,500 check goes up to $1,545. Our property taxes have gone up $100 a month. Our homeowners insurance is going up $60 a month. And our car insurance went up about $25 a month. So those three things right there, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and car insurance, that's $185 a month right there. Well, 45, so we're 140 in the hole already. And that doesn't include things like groceries and stuff like that. So if you're planning to live on Social Security and you're, late 50s, early 60s, every year you're going to get farther and farther behind. So what, 5 years, 10 years, you're not going to be able to make it? If you're in your 20s, 30s, you're paying in so that your grandparents can draw out. But, you know, as I said in the previous video, is when Social Security started, 42 people were paying in for every one drawn out. Today it's 3 to 1. In a few years it's going to be 2 to 1. Well, what happens when it's, you know, 1 to 1? Eventually, if you're in your 20s and 30s, I can just about guarantee that they're going to have to increase the age of retirement, because, you know, again, it used to be 60 was the life expectancy and you didn't get paid till 65. You know, today the life expectancy is 78, 79. So, you know, they're going to raise it to 80 at some point, where you don't get Social Security till you're 80. So they're going to have to jack up the age before you start getting paid, and they're going to have to reduce the payment down, because they got no money. I mean, that's the federal government. They're just drunken pirates spending like crazy. I mean, look at, I probably shouldn't say this out loud on the video, but, you know, FEMA's out of money. Ooh boy, so we got this huge hurricane disaster, and they've spent all their money on other things that they probably should, you know, they pilfered all that money. So, you know, that's just the way it is. You're on your own, and traditional retirement, you know, doesn't really exist. Never really did, because it was never supposed to happen. You're supposed to, you know, what our government wants is for you to work and work and work and pay into the system, you know, so they get their revenue, and then when you get old and you're not worth anything anymore to the system, then you just, you know, croak. That's their goal. It's kind of, it just is what it is, right? So how do you transition from a traditional job? And that's it, you know, again, I'm the burn the bridge, just jump and go kind of person. But if you're not, that's fine. So what you want to do is look at what you're doing. You know, you've got your job, you're paying into the system, and that's all fine. But you're going to simplify your life, you're going to reduce your expenses, and you've got to start thinking about how you can transition, you know, away from the job so that you can get an income from some other source. So how do you do that? How do you, you know, get, you know, you hear about internet and multiple streams of income and all of that, but what do? Look at what you love. What would you be doing if, you know, money wasn't even an issue? When you got up in the morning and I didn't bring my coffee out this morning, left it on the table, and the sun's coming up, it's going to be above the trees in a couple minutes, and, you know, what would you be doing? And, you know, the internet offers so many opportunities. Traditional income, like farming, like, you know, selling eggs or selling goat milk or so, that you put so much work into it. You really want to think about things that you can, you know, scale, that are easier to do. So virtual assistants, you know, do you like to write? You know, you don't have to be Stephen King to make money at writing. Blogging, writing, you know, I mentioned photography. Do you like to take pictures? Maybe you live in a spot where you can go out and shoot wildlife or flowers, you know, things that other people would be interested in. You know, that's the kind of thing that you want to be thinking about, is all of the ways that you can do something, you know, preferably in the internet world, because you just never know what's going to happen, right? You know, one thing that it just popped into my head, that we have a friend, and the reason it didn't really occur to me until just this second is I don't like doing this kind of thing, but our friend loves it. And what she does is she goes around to garage sales and yard sales and, you know, all the places that sell, you know, used clothing and other used items. And she focuses on clothes, and she buys clothing, and then if they need to be repaired, you know, she fixes them up. and washes them and gets them clean, and then she sells that stuff on eBay and Etsy and other sites. I mean, she has a room in her house that is just like it's a giant closet, and it's a good sized bedroom, and all that's in there is clothes. And she makes a good living at that. But she loves doing it. She loves getting in her car in the morning and driving and going to the church sales and yard sales and garage sales and finding the vintage clothing and that's what she enjoys. I don't like that. I don't want to go and rummage through people's stuff and that's not our thing. But she really likes doing that. So that's the kind of thing that you can do. So put on your thinking cap. Think about, simplifying, transitioning, creating a life that you don't even want to retire from, that you're just going to keep doing it day after day after day. That as you get older, I don't move near as fast as I used to. I was just thinking, when we moved here 10 years ago, I carried 4x8 sheets of OSB up a ladder onto the roof by myself. 42 sheets of OSB, one at a time. And there's no way I could do that today. I'd have to rent a lift or something like that. So, that's changed. And so, 10 years ago, I could carry 4x8 sheets of OSB. Today, I can't do that up onto a roof, up a ladder. So, build your life that you can continue to do as you naturally want to slow down, and forget about that traditional retiring, that, the days of just quitting work and then getting in your RV and cruising around the country and buying diesel fuel or gas or whatever. That's just, it never really existed. It was always been a myth. Let me know what you think. What can you do so that you can, quote, retire at whatever age you want to?